Hey guys, I'm using my flash for a change. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Blitzy and I would like to show you what's coming in our next video. Hang on. And never to be more than 6 inches behind is Blitzy. And be careful what you wish for, man. I wanted a best friend, and now I've got one attached to me like super glue. I found this SWR plots. That's in our next video. Come on, Blitzy, I can hear you behind me, man. Oh yes. Oh yes. Now, Blitzy would like to show you that I've removed the old fuel lines from the tractor. This video is all about the John Deere 318 and a little bit of progress Blozo's made. Blozo has removed the fuel tank, and sadly, I drained off the gas into there, right? All the gas went in there, and lost 3.5 gallons of gas, man. It's like, Jesus, man, about 18 bucks in gas. Thanks to Uncle Joe. Anyway, thanks to greedy big businesses, I emptied out the tank, and assuming there was some water in it, but no, none, zero. A little bit of crumblage. And I wish I hadn't. I've just refilled it. It's about, well, I put 4 gallons in, and you can't see that, but it's reading about 3/8 of a tank. It's like, damn, how much gas does this thing go through? I wish I didn't just set the tank back in place, because I'd show you what I've done with pressure washing under it. Okay, man, I've got my knee holding up the gas tank, and you can see that everything has been cleaned, cleaned nicely, painted with some satin black, and no more grease and grime under there. And okay, right on. One thing I love about this John Deere, you just slide the tank off. Those 2 posts, the tank straddles them. That's it. Now, I have freed up those 2 hydraulic valves. They're bypass valves. When you flip that lever down, it presses those 2 pins down on those valves, and it unlocks the transaxle. It allows it to freewheel and roll. And those 2 valves were stuck like crazy all the way down, which meant I'm sorry, they were stuck like crazy all the way up, and you couldn't roll it. So I freed them up as best I could, and I used to think I shot crap video, and I do. Coffee, coffee on the workbench. And I do shoot crap video, but I've been watching a lot of John Deere videos lately, and oh man, those guys make no attempt, or some of them make no attempt to hold the camera still, nor do they make any attempt to speak near the camera. Sometimes they're loud. Sometimes you got to replace the O-ring in one of those bypass valves, which I did, and that's the size it takes, right? I bought an extra, and silly Blozo, you see that white ring right there? It's like Teflon, and it's split. Silly Blozo thought it was broken, and he bought that's the original O-ring that I replaced. Silly Blozo thought it was broken, so he bought the next size down O-ring and stretched it around next to that one as a spacer, assuming that was a spacer, which it is. But yeah, so what do I do now? Take the valve back out and put the nylon spacer back in? It's that valve. If I want to do that, I just have to remove that rod. I'll have to grab my rod and move it to the side. And you see what I did here? Now, everything I see makes mention of 2 holes. This is the bypass rod lever. you can move it, right? It's spring loaded, you pull. And they made mention of rotate it down to unlock the transaxle and push your right. But my frame had no holes in it, man. It had none. So I made these. Top hole is for normal operation. You swing it down and lock it in the bottom hole for freewheeling of the transaxle. Before I put the fender deck back on, I wanted to show off. One moment, I'm going to turn this light off. Oh, it's my finger. Yeah, I cleaned off all the dirt from the brake assembly. That's all brake linkage. And what it's for, see this lever right here? You flip that up and it separates the two back brake pedals so that the two back brakes work independently. And because of all the fungus among us, these pedals wouldn't return unless you locked them together. Then you're doubling the spring tension, right? But they wouldn't return. Now they do. Bozo did good. The reason why you can do this, say you're mowing in your ditch and you're on a big old angle and one wheel starts to spin and you lose traction. Say your right wheel starts to spin. You just stomp down on the right brake pedal, locking this wheel, forcing that one to rotate, and out you go, man. It's amazing. We've cleaned the tank. Bozo bought Tygon fuel line. I first used Tygon tubing in biomedical engineering when I did 1.5 years of a dialysis stint repairing Fresenius 2008H dialysis machines. Tygon tubing's amazing. It puts a serious squeeze on the barb fittings. And it's no joke. Fuel line, $4, $4.50 a foot. I wanted 10 feet. My man at the auto parts store said, you don't need 10 feet for a garden tractor. And well, 10 feet I bought, and I have about 10 inches left. So, there you go, man. As per commentor suggestion, he requested that I reinstall the fuel valve to select a reserve fuel supply and to return it to the way that John Deere built it. Yeah, this thing weighs almost 900 pounds. I don't want to push it from my ditch to the garage. This line right here, I may have to shorten it a little. Depends on kind of how far over, right? You know what I mean? So I'll trim those lines as needed. Tygon tubing's great. No clamps needed, man. Isn't it pretty bad? All new fuel lines. This is the battery tray. The battery normally sits right there, right? I took the battery tray out to clean things. And these two heat exchangers you see right there, they're kind of hidden. There's one over there too. Well, those are the coolers that the hydraulic transmission oil coolers. And that's the flywheel and fan. This is a shroud. That fan, look at the blades, man. Look at the blades. They're a 1/4 inch thick cast iron. No wonder this thing weighs 900 pounds. 1/4 inch thick cast iron fan blades. That's nuts. If this was built in China, they'd be made out of tin. Thinner tin that's on your Campbell's soup can. So, yeah, God bless it. Garbage from China. What is it? 125, 12 volt, 25 amp, huh? There's only 2 wires. This positive supply one goes up to the positive battery clamp, and check it out, man. Right there. I see trouble brewing. I see trouble brewing. I'm going to cut this off like I did the negative one. My man that I bought this from said, yeah, the battery's only 3 years old, but I don't think it's any good anymore. Well, it was the battery clamp, and you should use dielectric grease. I didn't have any, but I'll put some on there. You should use dielectric grease. When you do that and you make a crimp connection, you get a, even though you've wiped it with grease, you get a metal-to-metal atomic contact. All grease has crushed the hell away from the two metals being crushed together, and you get a fantastic electrical connection with crimps. And yeah, so here's the battery tray. It was rusty, of course. I painted it. I didn't have John Deere green, nor do I. This is one side panel, and I just hit the spots up that had a little bit of surface. This is the inside. It needs cleaning. So even though I had the wrong color, I wanted to hit the rough spots while I had it apart. You'll see the fins on the two heads. Nice and black, isn't it pretty? Let's look at the other one, man. That one's just as pretty. We don't want one head to get jealous of the other, because it's a two-headed beast. It's a two-headed beast, man. And I don't know what else to show you. This is a firewall, and it kind of keeps these things cooler from the engine side. Well, what this had was about a 1/4 inch thick foam on that side. And you could make your own foam pad, you know, for it. And I'm not going to worry about it. This thing's not going to work in the field. It's not going to labor in the fields all afternoon. It's those days are over. He's gonna show off to the neighbors. He's going to show off to the neighbors. I already parked him out front and pimped my tractor, and the old part across the street, he got his John Deere out and pimped him in the front yard. And so now I wanted to show a little bit behind the scenes, behind the panel, so now I can put it back together tonight or whenever. Blitzy and I. Now, poor old Shaggy here, he's scratching his ass off. Kyle and I gave him his first flea treatment today. Hopefully it works. Poor guy. I brushed him out just now and made him so pretty. Blitzy's very, very pretty. And painted, it may be blasphemy, but all these fittings on the hydraulic cylinders, like this power steering cylinder, I painted them black with the same satin black hydraulic fittings. Did the same on the front end with the plow hydraulic couplers. Painted them black, man. I had already wire brushed them and cleaned them up and made them pretty, but I got a little crazy with the spray paint. Look at that frame, man. John Deere porn. Look at, isn't it pretty? And some people now, they say oiling moving parts is blasphemy, and it is. People correctly point out that when you oil things like here and here, you know, here and in here, that it just attracts dirt sticks to it and the parts will grind themselves into clearance. And yeah, that's true. But again, the old boy's done working in the fields, man. At this point, I'll use it for pleasure riding and for plowing the driveway in the wintertime. And there's going to be, believe me, there's no problem with dust in Michigan in January. Yeah, the only problem is with ice dripping from your chinny chin chin. So that's a look at the John Deere. All new fuel lines, man. Pretty yellow fuel lines. Reserve fuel selector reinstalled. Gas tank cleaned. I need to Since I can do it now from while standing here instead of whilst laying on my back, this tractor uses a drive shaft. Doesn't have a belt to transfer power from engine to rear transaxle. Has a conventional U-joint. Whoa, boy, that scared me with a grease zerk. It's weird using a camera with a flash turned on. I've lubricated the cables for the choke and the throttle. So that's about it, man. Time to put Dave back together. Hey, Nancy, the nurse, suggested letting you guys name my tractor. It's God damn, Nancy. Do you know what I'm likely to end up with? What if you guys all got together and colluded and named it Priscilla or Susie? Anyway, man. Second look at the John Deere. I wanted to show you the progress I've made, and now basically all there is to do is find some John Deere green paint and put it back together, man. So my next video will be the SWR plots of my end-fed half-wave, cut for 80 meters. My upside down and backwards Nike swoosh. I've taken SWR measurements on all of the harmonically related bands. And never to, come on, Blitzy. We gotta check out the Michigan cacti. Never to, miss an opportunity to bust my own chops. Look at my 17-meter scab radiator. It's copping a lean. Yeah, it intersects the other wire. No. Yeah. Had a little accident with the John Deere. Blitzy, come on. Come on, good boy. Come on, Blitzy. Come on, Blitzy. That's a good boy. Good boy.